the GED for a lot of us is something that we all feel like should have been happened, or it's something that we feel like is a big hurdle in our way. But I want you guys to know that if you study for it, if you do what you can to best prepare yourself, it's not about getting hundreds. It's just about passing. And you can definitely pass, especially if you try. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Joe, and today I'm gonna be telling y'all how I got my GED. I literally got it yesterday, and fortunately, I passed each one my first try, and I was able to do that because I studied constantly, and I was always reading prior too. So those two things really helped me a lot. And in my lowest, I got my lowest score that I had was in math. In math, I think I got like a 150 something. In reading, I got like a 170. Yeah, like I got my GED. I'm 22 years old and I didn't graduate high school. Honestly, I didn't graduate high school because it was COVID time and I wasn't doing the schoolwork like I was supposed to. So I got me some little notes and stuff that I wrote down. So I'm gonna be sort of reading from there, and we're gonna get right into it, man. So boom, 12th grade. So I didn't graduate high school because, like I just explained, it was COVID, and I was out partying, hanging out with friends, smoking, staying out late night, all the other stuff instead of actually doing the schoolwork that I was supposed to. And at the time, I also had a job, so I thought because I got a job, it was gonna be all fine and dandy. Like I had a job without having a diploma, and I had one without having a degree. So I was like, I could still do everything that I want to. I could still make it in life and be something. It'll just take me longer to get there, which is true. However, down the line, I started to realize that I wanted more for myself. So after 12th grade, I was working at a restaurant I was working a fast food joint, or really a restaurant. I don't know whichever one you would consider it. But I was working at Firehouse Subs, and I had a neck injury. And because I had the neck injury, I came in one day to get my check so I could go to the hospital. But my boss didn't give me my check, and so I quit pretty much that same moment. And then he sent my check in through the mail, and I pretty much told him like I'm not coming back. It's more to it. It's more complex, but that was pretty much the end. That wasn't really my smartest idea because after that I didn't have no work for like a while, like a few months, and so I was just scraping by. I was taking metal to the junkyard, and I was getting money that way with somebody I was hanging out with at the time, and we would just smoke and hang out, take stuff to the junkyard, and repeat on a daily basis. And that was pretty much, or on a weekly basis. That was pretty much like my life after 12th grade, and eventually, I moved out to Orlando with my mom, and I got a new job at Dollar General. Now, Dollar General was a step up because I made more money. I made like $13, $14 or something like that. And once again, I was feeling life. I was back in emotions, and I was motivated because I had a job. I was making money. So I was like, all right, I'm back in it. I'm back on track. But I still had one problem. I was still smoking weed, and I was the type to be spending money on money on money for weed. Like I could just smoke and I would go smoke again because I felt like it and I had the money to, because that's what I wanted to do and whatnot. And it was just like, I'm over here spending all this money on weed, but I don't have no car. I ain't even care about buying myself new clothes. I ain't care about, I wasn't going to the barber shop or anything like that. I was just like, work, weed, go to the crib, play the game, and that's life. And I was enjoying it. It was fun. I was happy and whatnot. But after time passed, once again, I still felt like I wanted more out of life, and I gave my shot with going to Southern Tech. You don't know Southern Tech? That's a community college. And at this community college, they had this test that I could take since I didn't have no GED or diploma, and I would basically, it was like a placement test or something like that, basically like a ready test, and I passed the ready test, and I was able to go to Southern Tech, and I was gonna go to Southern Tech, but after telling my family members about it and whatnot, I got word that it may not be the best decision because of the price, and not only that, but they were also saying like other schools are cheaper and whatnot. And I understood the benefits of going to Southern Tech, and I understood the cons of the price. And what really put the icing on the cake was the car breaking down. That really finished it off for me. And when the car broke down, it was just like I lost all motivation. I didn't go to Southern Tech. I went back to work. I went back to smoking and everything. I was just like back at square one, basically. I was back at square one. Eventually, I moved down to my hometown again. And in my hometown, that's where I met this girl, and we were out working at Little Caesars together, and we ended up getting married. And we got our first apartment together. We had a car at the time when we got the apartment and everything. So it was all cool. And it was just like we were waiting until some months passed by so that we could move into the apartment. So she was living with her mom, I was living with my gramps, and we were working, spending time together. It was just like it was great, it was great. And so then my car broke down when I was going to pick up my cousin PMJ. Dog, when the car broke down, I was just like, what am I gonna do? I literally am finna move into an apartment in a few months. There's no way for me to save up money. I had to tell my wife and everything. And, we were panicking a little bit. At first, we were panicking. We didn't know how we were going to do it. We just had faith in God. And we was able to move into our apartment. We packed all her stuff up at her crib, put it in the back of my Gramps' truck, his SUV. My Gramps was really the main clutch because he really, without his SUV, I don't even know if I would have been able to take all the stuff that we had there. After that, we moved in. We ain't had no jobs. I mean, not jobs. We didn't have no car again, so we had to catch Ubers to work, and that was really pricey. Like, we really had to do something about it and make it shape. And so what we did was we ended up leaving Little Caesars because we worked at the Little Caesars all the way up until that point. I got a job at Walmart. She got a job at a medical facility because she had prior background. Plus, she started going to school. So yeah, my wife is getting her associate's degree right now, while I just got my GED yesterday. Yes, and so sometimes some days I'm studying heavier than other days. Other days I'm not studying as heavy, but I'm making sure that I study. There was a time where I was on and off. Some weeks I would study, other weeks I wouldn't study at all. I just play the game with my friends, go to work, come back, blah, blah, blah. Then I ended up leaving my job because it was just too much drama going on, and it was just making me feel uncomfortable and things of that nature, especially with me being in a relationship and a marriage and stuff like that. And it was just like, it was just too much, too much. And so left, my wife held it down. She held it down all the way up until this point. Literally. I went without a job 4 months. My wife, everything in here, everything in here, my wife. This is my wife right here. The bed, my wife. The TV, my wife. The restroom sign on the door, my wife. The dresser, okay, the dresser is my aunt because she painted it. Shout out to her. That bookshelf right there and all those books on it, my wife. So she was really holding it down, really. And she let me study. She let me lock in. She let me play the game. She let me hang out with my friends and everything like that. While she held it down and went to work. And we did not have a car. So she literally had to catch Ubers to work and some days even walk. Even though she don't work that far. But come on, man. Nobody wants their wife walking, and no woman wants to be walking to work. But she did it anyways. Because she really loved me, she really believed in me, and she saw the vision. We shared a vision. And so, boom, I'm studying, studying, studying. And my auntie called me one day, and she's like, "Joe, you need to schedule those GED tests." She pretty much said, "Joe, you need to schedule those GED tests." Actually, I think I got the phone. I don't got a message because I got a new phone. My wife. Uh, so I can't tell you the exact messages, but she pretty much talked to me. She was like, "Joe, you need to schedule a GED test." And I was like, "Okay, I'll schedule my GED test. I got this job opportunity coming up soon, so I'm gonna do it after I get the job." And she was like, "No, you just need to schedule it right now. I'm paying for it. You schedule it. The worst that can happen is that you fail, but you know where you at and stuff like that." So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it." She called me, started scheduling it. She paid for it and everything like that. And boom, it was locked in stone. It was locked in stone 1 week after the other, 2 tests a week. It's like I had to lock in, study, and get it done because this was like, it's not just a plan in the air now, it's a deadline. And what my first test was language arts. Like I told you all, I had like a 170 in that, almost had college credits, and that's because I do a lot of reading. Like I have a book right here, it's a university level book, um, by Dr. Made McCullough, The First 3,000 Years Christianity. It's a university level book. I like reading and things like that, and I got some other books over there too, pretty much theological books. Some prior to I read some historical books. I like reading sociological, not sociological, but like cultural books and things like that, reading from scholars and stuff. So reading, it was pretty simple and straight. You know, it didn't necessarily surprise me that I got a high score on it, but it did surprise me that I was 2 points away from college credits. I did not believe that I was going to score that high. Thank God I did though. And then right after that, the very next day, I had the social studies. Social studies, I was stressing about. I thought I would have to remember dates. I thought I was gonna have to, remember everybody's name. I thought I was gonna have to be explaining. Guys. It was literally just like reading. I was reading documents, I was reading little paragraphs and whatnot, and I just had to pretty much find the main idea, say what the author is trying to convey, what it is best talking about, and stuff like that. It was literally just like reading, guys. So, guys and girls, so if you have a social studies coming up or reading, it's pretty much two sides of the same coin. Two sides, I kid you not, like two sides of the same coin. I was stressing. I was asking ChatGPT, I was like, what am I gonna be in for social studies? I was looking at the YouTube videos. I'm trying to gather. I'm going on all resources, trying to figure out how to study social studies test is gonna be. It came, boom, passed it, flying colors, just like my reading test. And that's because it was just like it. I came in there stressing. I had one image and idea of it that I couldn't shake, and when it actually came down to it, it was nothing like what I thought it was. And then next week, which was this week, Wednesday, I had my math test. Tuesday, I had my science test. Science and math on the GED, I was low key confused because it was talking about some stuff that I hadn't learned and whatnot. However, the science was similar to the reading and stuff like that as well. And the science and math were really similar in the sense of that I had graphs and stuff that I was looking at. But the science really was just analyzing data, and it was pretty much all there on the paper. Like if you could properly understand what was going on the screen, I said paper, but on the screen, then you would pass the science because it was pretty much just analyzing data. And finally, that math, guys and girls, I was just like, this is gonna be a hurdle. I was going in there doubts. I was stressed, but even though I was all those type of ways when I went there, I tried to keep a positive attitude. I went in there telling myself I was going to do my absolute best. And prior to the math test, I studied practically the whole day after my science. I studied algebra, geometry, functions, okay, pattern recognition, slopes, graphs, how to figure out slopes and line graphs, all that good stuff. And I wasn't my strongest. It definitely wasn't on the same level as my prior three, reading, social studies, and science. But guys, I passed. I know I only passed because I was studying, especially for that math. So it's not much you can do for the GED besides study. It's not much you can do besides spend that 2 hours studying. Spend 15 minutes studying, take you a 30-minute break, get back to studying 15 more minutes. or whatever the case may be, however it works for you. But you have to study. And so it brings me to say this. I have my GED. I pull it out for you guys just to show you guys that, I'm not just making a video 2 years later or something like that. This is it right here. My GED, my high school or my diploma. It says high school diploma on it, but it is a GED. And just so you guys know that I'm not lying, it's a date on there right there. Y'all see that's just the other day. So I'm not lying to you guys. I literally really did get it recently. And it's one of those things that after I got it, it was just like I was relieved. But I do still want more. And that's really what I want to make this video about. I really want to make this video because I want to tell somebody to get their, I want to tell somebody to study, to get their GED, and to keep going. Because the GED, for a lot of us, is something that we all feel like should have been happened, or it's something that we feel like is a big hurdle in our way. But I want you guys to know that if you study for it, if you do what you can to best prepare yourself, it's not about getting hundreds. It's just about passing. And you can definitely pass, especially if you try. Nobody's too far to get their GED. It's not too late for anybody to get their GED. The chance is there and it's going to be there. So you got to be willing to put yourself in that uncomfortable position of doing the boring part and learning, and then the even harder position of actually scheduling the test and getting there and passing. You got this. If there's not one thing you got, it's this. Because all you have to do is study. And this will be the thing that literally catapults you in how you feel about life and how you handle things. When I got my GED, guys, I was excited. I was sitting in this very chair, refreshing the page over and over again. I was refreshing the page, waiting for that math to hit. Then I got an email, and it said, your test scores are ready. And there it was. I passed the math. I passed it. I was literally like, woo! I literally was like that. I was just like, I was shocked. I was happy. I instantly texted my wife. Let me see. I got the messages too. I instantly texted her though and everything because she was there having my back the whole time and I was stressing. This is the messages. I texted her that I was there and whatnot. She said she was basically telling me to do my absolute best. Wait, no. Okay, hold on. So this was after the test, okay? This was when I texted her I'm here. This was after the test. You see at 10:50, and she was saying, "Can I check the score?" And I was telling her, "No, I can't. It hasn't uploaded yet." But I was stressing. Y'all see. I said, "I think I'm gonna have to wait a month to retake it." And she asked me if I got the score. I said, "No, not yet, but that at least gives me time to study." And she said, "Dang, they taking long today because you guys, the other days it was coming in like that. I kid you not. Before I even got out the building on one, I literally had the test and I literally had the test score. So I was like, dang, bro. I know this don't guarantee that I fail, but it really is getting to me because it's taking so long for me to see the score and whatnot, especially whenever I knew that I done had one mad quick before. And so I said I've been reloading the website since I left, and boom, guys, at 11:35, that's when the test score hit, and I instantly texted her. I said, "Babe, I passed. I got it." And she was so happy for me. She was so happy for me. I sent her a picture of my passing scores if y'all want to see, so y'all know I'm not capping y'all or anything like that. But yeah, she was saying, "What now, bro? I'm so happy for you," and that was that. So I really did get my GED. It's really because I studied. I want you to know that you can do it as well. It's not too hard. You don't even know what, if you haven't even taken it before, you don't even know what you're in for. So you telling yourself it's too hard before you even get there, or you talking to yourself like it's just the most difficult thing before you even get there, is you really shooting yourself in the foot. So let's not do that. Okay? Let us not do that and let us take our GED test. this is my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna bring more content as time go on. You guys are gonna see what I end up doing with my life. This isn't gonna be the most professional looking channel or whatnot, because I'm not at that stage yet or anything like that. But yeah, if y'all want to talk about the future, now that we here, I have to close my little book of notes now, because now we in the present moment. But now that we're here, I'm looking to get into a trade school, because I want to be hands on and I want to make more money as soon as possible. Because I definitely want to get my wife back for all the good stuff that she's held down for, and for so she could, do get back in her womanly. She could just sit back, chill. She want to get her nail done. She want a new bag or anything like that. I'm gonna get it for her. I want to do all that. So I'm trying to get into a trade. But I did figure out that the deadline was last month, and the federal deadline is next month. So I'm really in between with the chances of not getting in and getting in. So that's kind of, it kind of got me hit a little bit, but it's not too late for anything, because I do have a job tomorrow. So I do start working tomorrow, and I'm excited for that. It's definitely going to be the time where I give her presents and I treat her like the woman she's been and all that. And so, yeah, I want to go also to the military, but baby doesn't want me to, because, when you hear the military, you kind of think about the dangers of it and whatnot, and I completely understand that. But it's still not completely off the table, because we've been talking about it, and it's just a very complex topic. But what I want to do in the military is one of the few things. I either want to get into cyber and intelligence. I want to just be a Air Force electrician, work on electrical systems or something like that. Or I'm maybe get into aviation, so that I can work on the planes, or know how to do know how to fix the planes, or anything regarding the planes and stuff like that. Those are my top three. For a 4 and 5 spot, I don't really know, but if you know anything about the military, what I just said about cyber and intelligence and aviation and stuff like that, those are just like the big words for all the things that's under it and stuff like that. So I got about maybe 10 things specifically. I don't know if it's really 10, but I got a few things I'm gonna tell the recruiter that I want to do if the time comes for me to tell them that and whatnot. But yeah, that's where we at right now. We're gonna have more videos coming, and hopefully we move into a new apartment. We could get another car, and hopefully, honestly, I could get into the military so that I could take my wife to a new area, and we could reap the benefits of serving, because that is also something that I want to do. I do want to be a good part of the community, because I realize now that I'm older, I don't want my life to be just about reaping benefits that others have sown for me. I also want to be a piece of the community as well, and I plan on getting there one way or another. That's sort of like a whole motivator behind me also wanting to go to electrician, because I know I'll be able to contribute to a great something way larger than me, and that's also a main motivator of me going into the military. Hopefully, I can get into the Space Force, because that's really where I want to be. It sounds so cool, and I love just tech and whatnot. So, I've been studying and stuff like that. As we're talking about it, I got my study notes right here and whatnot, like the ASVAB book and stuff. And not only am I studying for military, but I'm also studying for electrician in case the plan goes right and I can become an electrician. I already know some information and whatnot. But yeah, you guys, this is my channel. Subscribe if you're interested, and maybe join me in my journey of life and whatnot. I'm not going to tell you that I'm the most consistent. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be, videos every week or month, but there will definitely be videos that come out, and, you know, we could keep in contact if any of you guys are going to the military or becoming electricians, or, into cyber and whatnot. Feel free to hit me up. Uh, and yeah, that's really much it. I don't know how to close out a YouTube video, but like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in real life.